Hey folks, this is Ted Cantu with The Win, and I got some really cool things to share with you today. Behind me is the 24 Club, the 24 Club logo. If you can see it, kind of cool. This reminds me of the Pixies, the graphic designer Vaughn Oliver. I kind of give a little tribute to some visual, the coolness of it all. So that was my inspiration. 24 Club is a name I came up with for businesses that I'm working with right now that are ranking on Google within 24 hours. Pretty cool. There's it's almost unheard of, really. This recent page I did for sales copy using AI and talking about AI and SEO, search engine optimization. I have a picture of Keith Moon on there because he was like a master at the drums. He was a drummer for the Who, and you can see I'm a big fan of the Who right here. So kind of fitting. But he would absolutely demolish his drum kits. I mean, he was just he was like Gene Krupa times 10. I mean, the guy was just an incredible force of nature. That's kind of where we're going here with this program, because now I'm able to take any industry and put them on page one of Google pretty quickly, between 24 hours to 48 hours. 12 hours was one of our records last week. I was pretty blown away with it. Now, what do I attribute this to? A lot of sales copy, copywriting. And I talk to business owners and CEOs, and they think copywriting is this little copyright symbol right over here. Unbelievable. That's not what it is at all. Copywriting, that's a copyright. That's a copyright. Copywriting is salesmanship in print. And that's what I do. And as to persuade your prospect to becoming a buyer and a customer. That's a process. Let me show you this new thing we're coming up with. This is the postcard I'm doing for the home improvement industry, because we're doing some fantastic stuff over there. And we're getting our companies listed. We're getting our material, our content listed right now in Mason and East Lansing. That's coming together. But before I show you the pictures, I want to share with you this postcard. Now, this is kind of a cool thing. The postcard is it's going to be half a sheet of 8.5 by 11, so it's pretty big. And it says, how can you increase your SEO rankings, crank up your website to lightning speeds, and efficiently increase your income in 24 hours? So I'm using AI tools, a blend of copywriting, SEO process. We're able to get our pages in Google in 24 to 48 hours. Yes, you read that correctly. And other companies will make you wait for months to get any kind of visibility. If you Google search engine results, the AI response on Google will tell you it takes 3 to 6 months. And a lot of you guys out there don't have 3 to 6 months to spare. So that's not good. We're doing it in 24 hours, which is phenomenal. We have a rapid technology, gets it done in 24 to 48 hours, and you can pick out your town and location. Pretty cool. And we have a money back guarantee on visibility. Wow, that's pretty gutsy, huh? And yeah, it says here that we do HVAC, roofing, windows, mold, fire, electric. We do it all. It's amazing. But that's what's coming up. So if you are in the home improvement industry, or if you'd like an invitation, I can send you one, or I can send you an email. You can download videos. We've got testimonials. We got live case studies right now. Our stuff is popping up. In fact, for Hot Metro Finds, we've got this little pink H in a word bubble. You see the logo. I don't really know how that came up. It was basically Hot Metro Finds is like a news site, originally pop culture site, and about music and culture and art and everything. The pink came from just to be loud, like punk rock, kind of like, but nothing feminine about that. It's just a pink color. We got a red version of this and a green one that's coming up for our green and home improvement companies and that sort of stuff. But this thing was pretty cool. And whenever you see that on Google on the results, you know it's us. It's wild. There's like basically no limits to where we can go with this. Now, it's really interesting too. Before I start going to this too deeply, I just want to say that there was a guy in Business 2.0 magazine. He was an Asian guy. Oh gosh, 20 years ago, and it was called The Man Who Owned the Internet. I don't know if any of you guys remember this. He was an Asian guy, and he was buying domains, web domains, paying a lot of money for these web domains. I mean, like 20,000 a piece, 14,000 a piece, and that sort of thing. And he was trying to like buy up the web, and it worked. It worked. He was quite, you know, aggressive. The question though is, do you really need to do that now? Because if you structure your website correctly, you don't really have to do that anymore. And you can still use naming conventions that'll get you into some top places. Now, that's really interesting to me because I've got one client right now that I am working with. It's a bookkeeping client for construction companies. That particular client is hard to rank. I'm gonna have to see if I can change some things on it on the inside of the site to make it work and to make it function properly. I do believe you don't have to buy domains like that anymore. You know, bidding on these $10,000 domains. People still believe this, but there's a way you can, cut right around that. What I'm going to show you right now is the blueprint. Very briefly, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but it's I call it the Juggernaut website. And the way it's constructed, the way it's built is powerhouse. But the thing is, you got to have content. You got to have content. I don't want you to fall in love with your content to the point where it's like, hey, I got 2 paragraphs that explain what I do. And that's what I do. And be comfortable with it. I want you to actually push this thing as far as it can possibly go. You got to remember now, if you want to do something really prolific, 1,500 links out there back to your site is going to really help you, establish some serious ground. So I think that's a great number to play with. And Evan Bailey talks about that. The First Page Sage guy in New York. He's got 2 excellent books on SEO, which outlines the basic principles and blueprint. We've taken this whole thing to a different level based on speed. And how I got to this part is because a lot of businesses in Michigan are struggling. They're hurting. And you can deny it all we want, but we are in a recession. We have inflation. And people say, no, we don't. It's not true. It is true. And the business owners that I talk to need fast results. So I created a concept, which I call the Win, and the 24 Club. And it was basically based on that. So I spent the whole summer basically just trying to fine tune this process and build it and make something really massive out of it. So that's incredible. Now, if you like the Keith Moon idea, the Who, I was talking about that. I got an Eddie Van Halen web page coming out talking about speed and copywriting and innovation. Eddie Van Halen, obviously, God rest his soul, he was an innovator. And that guitar, he built it from scratch, old Kramer guitar parts, and it was called the Frankenstrat. If you've ever looked at this thing, it's pretty incredible. That's a miracle he didn't electrocute himself because the wiring was hanging out, and people have died playing electric guitar. Got shocked to death. But anyway, point and purpose is that this article is going to explain about innovation. The reason why I'm sharing this too is because when Eddie Van Halen used to play originally, he used to have his back turned to the stage. He didn't want people to see his guitar. And he would do this thing called on the fretboard, what do they call that? Hammering and all that stuff. He'd play the guitar neck like it was a piano. And that's how he got all those different sounds. And he'd pull and he'd, pull on the strings and then stretch them out. And anyway, he would not show people his techniques. Finally, he turned around, faced the audience, and just said, well, here's we're just going to go ahead and do it. And I'm kind of the same way. And I have the reputation for being somewhat of a jerk. In the early days, I would not show anybody what I was doing. And it was a different world back then. Back in the late '90s, early 2000s, I would not show people my techniques and strategies. And in fact, I had quite a few rivals who are not even around anymore. But this is what it was. What I'm doing now, though, I'm actually coaching and training companies on what I do. I'm going to have an open book, and I'm going to show people what I do for how I get these results. Uh, how I came to that decision was actually a book from Dan Kennedy, the famous direct response marketer. And after reading a chapter about diversifying your marketing and your purpose and your business, I decided to have different revenue streams in it. And that is particularly a new one for me. And that was just this summer. So if you're interested in that, I highly suggest calling us directly. We can set you up. And if you've got a web department already, you're probably almost already there, but you need to do some tweaks to make this a reality. And for goodness sake, you need to do some copywriting. We've got a guidebook coming out. It's a giveaway. And it talks about how people buy things. They buy things on emotions. And it's your job as a business owner to transfer your emotions to your prospects. So they'll either pick up a phone or they're going to call you in some way and want to do business with you. So that's the whole point. So copywriting is super important. And in fact, that's the whole point of this little broadcast that we're doing today. So essential, so important, and so necessary. Let me tell you. All right, so I'm going to keep it pretty short today. I'm not going to go over the top and go into this long-winded, take on copywriting. I'm just telling you right now that you got to look at some different things. This particular postcard has a really great headline on it. You got to think about headlines. Headlines is what's going to sell your product. People don't want to read about, we're a family-based business. We care about people. We treat you like family. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. Can you save somebody time with your process? Can you save somebody money with your process? Do you have something so new and innovative that you just can't keep it under wraps? You got to really just you want to just tell the whole world that you're going to explode. Headlines do that for you. They'll do all the talking. And when you want to get really specific, we can go into fonts. What's good for readability? Serif fonts or sans serif fonts. I like Impact because it's just so bold and loud and bombastic. And sometimes when I really want to be articulate and sell something, and intellectual of nature, I will use like a Times Roman. I don't with a bold face on it. I don't really mind doing that. I'll also move type around to get people's attention. I do that quite a bit. And there's a whole series of psychological triggers that when you put this stuff together, people just go, wow, I need to have this. I want that. Let me tell you a true story. And I'll wrap it up. I used to be in a copywriting class, and we'd sit in a circle, and I would grab my sales copy, and I would pass it out to people, and they would read it, pass it to the next person. I get the other person's sales copy, and I'd read that, and pass that over like this, and we'd do the whole thing. We critique each other's work. And one day, my sales copy disappeared. Someone grabbed a hold of it, and they liked what they saw, and they kind of folded it up and put it away. To take it back and study it. And that was a real high compliment to me. And I decided that I really was getting better and close. And I tell you what, it's a really cool thing when you actually run your sales copy off your printer and you hand it to somebody and they look at it and their eyes kind of glaze over like, oh, like this, like, hey, this is good. And now that's such an amazing feeling because you've really connected to that person and really made them stand up and pay attention. That's a really awesome feeling to have. And let me tell you, it's such a cool feeling. It almost kind of feels like it's illegal because you're printing up money, basically, but you're printing up value. That's the most important thing. And you want to communicate value to your prospects. So sales copy, I can't tell you um, enough good things about it. The most important thing I can tell you, though, that every sales copywriter I met, they read a different style. I've liked Alan Forrest Smith. He's very loud and right to the point. And he's a big fan of Charles Dickens and Tolstoy and that kind of stuff. I like him because he's very literate. David Garfunkel is good too. Bob Bly, not so much, because I'm not an engineer. And I find his stuff very dry and very boring and not exciting at all. But now that I'm more seasoned, I might want to relook at his stuff again because he is good at what he does. And of course, Dan Kennedy is great too. And if you want to start studying the masters, that's really interesting. You start looking like David Ogilvy and his people. That was based on the whole Mad Men aesthetic. Is very, very interesting to me. George Lois is another one I like a lot. It's fascinating stuff, man. But what makes people buy stuff is so incredible. So anyway, that's my time for today. This new postcard is taken off. Our new program is taken off, and I promised you some top 10 stuff. I've got some things right here for we buy cash home buyer. We buy homes. Those are coming up right now, page 1. It took about 48 hours. Very cool stuff. Here's some pictures. And I got some pictures of a computer virus removal system, malware, Trojan horse, viruses, and ransomware for East Point, Detroit. Pretty cool. That took about 48 hours. One of them took 24 hours. I got an IT guy too. He does IT work in Troy, Grosse Pointe. And his stuff took off in about 12. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, he was a 12-hour guy. And then later it was 24 hours for the rest of the categories. Incredible. And right now I'm doing some stuff for the interior design business. And I just wrote 9 pages of copy today. That's going to be coming up too. Very excited about that. It's going to open up a whole brand new set of doors for us. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. So anyway, for more information, go to tedcantu.com, right? Or just type in Ted Cantu SEO on Google, and you're going to see all my work that's coming up. And we've got case studies coming out pretty much on a daily basis now, which is really exciting. And I've got a new development taken off in California, which I'm pretty proud of. And that's going to be for sewer repair and real estate. And sidewalk certifications that's already taken off. We're in Alamo, California, East Bay area. Just fantastic. My phone number is 248-277-6141. And come down. Let's do this. Let's broadcast your marketing message to the masses and get you some clients and the attention that you deserve. So this has been Ted Cantu from The Win. Thanks for watching. And until next time, I'll see you online.